On Overdrive this week, Bert drives the India-bound BMW 1 Series from Germany to Austria. Auto Selector with your queries and happenings from the auto world. Jamshed drives yet another hybrid, this time from Toyota, and vignettes from the Dakshin Dare Rally. Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I'm Shireen Ban. There's been plenty of action in the premium cars segment, with the three German giants trying to battle it out to get a bigger piece of the pie. All these car companies have been focusing on their entry-level offerings. Audi topped the charts with the Q3 earlier this year. Mercedes has, by the way, regained the top slot with the A-Class, and now it's the turn of the Bavarian. Take a look at all the action with Bert.
Like these mighty Tyrolean peaks right behind me, BMW came down to India and in a very short span of time scaled some impressive heights. But in the recent past, they have sustained severe setbacks and have fallen from grace. But BMW intend, or rather they are hoping, to soar back to those heights again with this new product, the 1 Series hatchback. Now the 1 Series hatchback will be assembled in India and it will be positioned below the X1, which to date has been BMW's most affordable product in the Indian market. And that also means another thing. The 1 Series hatchback, when it comes down to India, will be significantly more affordable than Mercedes-Benz's A-Class hatchback and probably even Audi's forthcoming A3 sedan. The 1 Series has been around since 2004, but it has only been about a year since BMW decided to offer this car to India. This two-box, 5-door hatchback isn't something that will draw much attention based on the way it looks. The design and styling is entirely uninspiring. What it lacks is the design flair of the Mercedes-Benz A-Class, so don't expect the 1 Series to sweep you off your feet if your purchase decision is that shallow. Inside the cabin though, what you see is a high-quality premium interior using premium plastics and leather. The design is faintly familiar and you'd probably recognize it because it's identical in almost every respect to the new 3 or the 5 Series. Minor detail changes depending on the trim are the only bits to distinguish this car on the inside from its siblings. The 1 Series is around 4.3 meters long, and that has allowed BMW's engineers to manage the space inside this cabin very well indeed. There's enough, or rather sufficient room, knee room and leg room for the rear and front passengers. Having said that though, this cabin is strictly a 4-seater. There just isn't enough space to shove a 5th passenger in. Putting him in between the two sitting on the window sides, well, would make him very uncomfortable, especially since the transmission tunnel intrudes into that rear cabin area. The 1 Series though has a fairly large boot. With the rear seats folded up, you get 360 liters of boot space. But take those down, fold those down flat, and you get up to about 1200 liters of boot space, and that's simply enormous for a hatchback like this. BMW's gambit for the 1 Series in India will be to offer this hatchback with a lot more power, because frankly it isn't a very striking looking car as such, at least not as attractive to look at as the Mercedes-Benz A-Class. But instead what you get is a lot of power and a lot of torque. Nevertheless, this car still aims to give you the best fuel efficiency possible, and I wouldn't be surprised if the fuel efficiency from this hatchback is best in class. When the 1 Series is offered in India, it will come with a choice of 2 engines, a petrol and a diesel. Both of these will be mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission that's supplied by ZF Engineering. Now this 8-speed automatic transmission is what BMW offers in all of its cars available in India. Now the petrol, of course, is a 1.6-litre turbocharged petrol. But what will sell in larger numbers and which will be more popular, of course, is going to be the diesel, and that's the 118D, which has a 2-litre diesel. That's a common rail direct injection turbocharged engine. The turbocharger is a VGT turbocharger. Max power from the diesel is around 143 PS, which is more than what Mercedes offers on the A-Class diesel, and you get 300 Newton meters of max torque as well. And that VGT turbocharger, of course, gives it a lot of linearity. You really don't sense any turbo lag. And of course, with the 8-speed automatic, the car is largely tuned to give out the best fuel efficiency possible. The petrol, on the other, is what you should and must buy if you are looking to enter the premium car segment and would largely use this car for urban commuting. It's a turbocharged 1.6-litre petrol with 138 PS of max power and 220 Nm of max torque, mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. It's a peppy engine and loves to be revved hard. A thoroughly enjoyable engine that will provide hours of driving pleasure. In either configuration though, torque is delivered to the rear wheels, which simply adds to the fun. The 8-speed automatic transmission offers a choice of 4 driving modes, and we've already experienced this in most of BMW's passenger cars and SUVs offered in India. But just to recap, these 4 driving modes are Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus and Eco Pro. Now Eco Pro is fairly new to the Indian market, but just to get from the beginning, Comfort basically softens up the suspension and it makes the steering feel lighter, and of course the shift points for the transmission, they make this a more comfortable car to drive, as well as maximizing or rather enhancing fuel efficiency. Progressively things get stiffer, tighter in Sport mode, and Sport Plus, well, that's when the engine shift points alter to give the best performance possible. The steering gets much heavier and dynamics are considerably improved. In Sport Plus mode, this car is capable of doing 100 kilometers in just a breath under 9 seconds. Nevertheless, what's most important is the Eco Pro mode. And in Eco Pro mode, the principal aim of this car is to maximize fuel efficiency, squeeze out every last drop of fuel, or rather use it optimally to get the most mileage. To do this, it manages the engine shift pattern, it manages the electric supply to all of the electric components inside this car, and well, it also manages the throttle inputs. I expect the 118D will be one of the most fuel efficient hatchbacks available in the Indian market in the premium segment. Driving the 1 Series in Germany and Austria, well, you really can't get a sense of what the ride quality is like. Nevertheless, when this car comes down to India, BMW will tune the suspension, they will tweak it and offer Indian consumers the rough road package, which basically makes the suspension more durable and offers a slightly better ride quality. Nonetheless, from what we've experienced from BMW cars so far is that they're still stiff, and I don't expect the 1 Series to be any softer than probably the 3-series or the 5-series sedan for that matter. But what is immediately apparent is that this car does have a bit of body roll in it. Nevertheless, it handles extremely well some of the tight corners in the Austrian Alps. Well, the 1 Series feels perfectly at home. The power steering on the 1 Series is electromechanically assisted, but it's not extremely light, it's not oversensitive. There still is a reasonable amount of feedback that you get from the steering, and that makes it a comfortable car to drive well in the twisty or out on the highways, especially in the Austrian Alps. It feels a fairly dynamic car, but where urban conditions are concerned, steering may feel a bit heavy at times. Nevertheless, it's not heavy enough to put too much of strain on your arms, and you will still find this car a fairly comfortable car to drive in crowded urban areas. Overall then, the BMW 1 Series makes a strong case for itself. It confidently represents BMW's sheer driving pleasure character and looks all set to not just give more people access to the brand, but also attract a newer and possibly younger breed of consumers to the fold. Interestingly, all 3 big German manufacturers, Audi, BMW and Mercedes-Benz, are all employing different strategies to offer their volume segment products for the Indian market. So while Mercedes-Benz, the A-Class came in as a CBU, and the A3 from Audi will come in as a sedan, BMW is bringing the 1 Series in as a hatchback, and they will assemble this car in Chennai. That means this car will be a lot more affordable than the A-Class, and for that matter I expect the A3, if that isn't assembled here as well. Pricing, well, I expect the pricing to be about close to about 18 to 19 lakh rupees, and at least that's where I expect it to start. going up to about 22 for the diesel automatic.
Well, the 1 Series is expected to launch in India in September, and if it manages to outsell the Mercedes A-Class, it'll be deja vu with BMW once again dislodging Mercedes from the #1 position. But on that note, it's time for a break. When we return, we answer your queries on Auto Selector and we wrap up all the auto news.